Hey lifers, Dustin here, and it is Thursday, which means it's time for another edition of college football news. This week there was a few big things, not a whole lot of little things. So obviously, as with every single week, if there's anything that I missed that was interesting to a team in your neck of the woods or in your conference that I did not get to in this video, let me know down below and include links. It's always interesting. If I get enough of them, I've always kind of thought I would make a second episode kind of recapping the ones that you guys submitted. You can also submit, I never remember which side, to my Twitter, whichever side that popped up on during the week, and I'll kind of catalog it and see if there's some that I get a couple of extra requests on. I may put that in the video, so make sure to shoot me on Twitter whenever you see something interesting during the week, but let's get started. This week, Disney announced that in 2018 they would be ending their partnership with Netflix so that in 2019 they could launch their own streaming service. So that's what all the headlines have been about. I didn't really care about it, but I did see one article that made me delve a little bit deeper, and this is why it's important for us. So apparently in 2019 when they start launching new streaming services for Disney, which I assume will also include like not only Disney movies and Disney channel original shows and stuff like that. I assume there will be one for Marvel, though I'm not sure about that. There will be one about ESPN, an ESPN streaming service. This is a part of the BAMTech $1.5 billion investment. They're going to develop an ESPN streaming service just for sports. They have been pretty vague about it because I doubt there's a whole lot of concrete ideas, just kind of general concepts. They did say that it would probably be within the existing ESPN app, so it wouldn't be its own app, which is weird. It would just be like a paid expansion within the app, which is kind of interesting. They also said that SportsCenter will probably not be on the app, that will continue to be a TV, cable, exclusive show, which, okay, I wouldn't have gotten it for SportsCenter anyway. I have long said that the day ESPN develops its own streaming service is the day that I will probably never watch another television set again. You can already watch games on CBS and Fox through their apps, as I do every football and with CBS basketball season. I really only watch TV for sports now. I'm a millennial. I don't really care about television shows. I watch stuff on YouTube and Netflix. So if ESPN can develop their own app where you can watch live sports, they already kind of have that. But if they have a back catalog of all of the live sports that they've ever done, I will never watch TV again. I will just exclusively watch the app. I'm hoping it's going to be a lot like the WWE Network app. If any of you have had, if you're wrestling fans, you have any experience, they did a really good job of taking every WWE pay-per-view, ECW, WCW pay-per-view that's ever been, and it's on there. They developed their own shows, and they live stream pay-per-views now. And I think that's probably a model that Disney and ESPN want to take a look at. If they can use their back catalog, hopefully they'll make a search feature that's a lot better than what WWE has. They can make a search feature based on sport, year, team. So you can say, I want to watch the 1991 Penn State football games. And all the games that are available will pop up there. Hopefully they would also have things like volleyball and racing and Monday Night Football. And hopefully there's a lot of this included in this. Like I said, it's very vague right now. We don't totally know, but this could be one of the final steps towards complete cord cutting. If they can do the back catalog like I'm hoping they can do, then it would pretty much dwarf any attempts that CBS or NBC or Fox do in eventually launching something similar in the future. I think this is smart by ESPN. They did all of those layoffs a couple of months ago because they said that they wanted to be more forward-thinking. I don't know why you couldn't just afford that, because they're losing money based on their cable deals right now because people aren't watching, people aren't buying cable subscriptions. I think this makes total sense, and it should be really interesting. Let me know down below what you guys think about this. Are you excited about it? Do you think it could be the death of sports broadcasting as we know it, because you won't be able to flip around channels quite as easily? I'm just curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know down below. UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen made some waves in the media this week when he apparently took a shot at Alabama's academic standards. His exact quote was, "Look, football and school don't go together. They just don't. Trying to do both is like trying to do two full-time jobs. There are guys who have no business being in school, but they're here because this is the path to the NFL. There's no other way. Then there's the other side that says raise the SAT eligibility requirements. Okay, raise the SAT requirement at Alabama and see what kind of team they have. You lose athletes, and then the product on the field suffers." Now, I had some people reach out because I graduated from Alabama, and people were like, "Can you believe what he said about Alabama?" I actually agree pretty much 100% with what he said. He is saying that if you raised the requirements at Alabama, which UCLA has, and teams like Notre Dame have, and Duke and Stanford, there are teams that just have higher requirements based on their school's curriculum and the image and the brand that it's putting out there. If you raise the SAT requirements at Alabama, yeah, it's gonna be harder to get some of the top 5-star recruits. All of these number 1 recruiting classes would not have happened. With Saban, they still may have been top 10, top 15, but they wouldn't be able to get everyone they get. That just seems like common sense. I don't know why people... I feel like the media framed it as, oh, he's taking this shot at Alabama. Well, Alabama's been the best team in the country for 10 years, give or take. So, yeah, if you're going to immediately flippantly talk about, compare it to the best team, you're just going to pick Alabama. I don't think he personally cares about Alabama. I've never gotten the sense that he just sits around pouting about Alabama all the time. I just think that that's just the go-to college football team right now. Just like in the 70s, you probably would have said Notre Dame. Not in this case, because Notre Dame is one of the... You know what I'm trying to say. So I don't really think of it as a shot. What he was really trying to say is that the NCAA, his main point, and what he's actually made before, is that the NCAA is kind of pointless. The fact that you have to come to college to play football, because like I said in my NCAA hypocrisy video, which you can see right here, I really got to get those cards down. Whenever you can see the video, it's him saying, there's no other path to the NFL. That's really the important part there, is I have a full-time job as a student and a full-time job as an athlete, and it's impossible to manage the two sometimes, which I completely agree with. And again, this is something he has actually touched on before. Almost exactly a year ago, he said, "It's absolutely too much to be considered an amateur sport. I love Coach Moore to death, but if they want to call it an amateur sport, hire amateur coaches, don't have TV deals, don't have 100,000 people in the stands, and don't sell tickets." I mean, he's kind of right about that too. Dabo Swinney also turned a couple of heads this week when he said, talking about the lead up to the Fiesta Bowl, college football playoff semifinal game against Ohio State, that these boys were in trouble. He said that all year, everybody had talked about how great the Big Ten was and how wonderful the Big Ten was. And when he watched tape, he was like, oh, these guys aren't anywhere near where we are. These guys aren't anywhere near where our league is and where the SEC is. I found that kind of interesting because Florida State head coach Jimbo Fisher had actually said something similar last month on ESPN when talking about how you just assume that the Big Ten's the best conference, or you assume the SEC's the best conference, when in reality, the ACC was actually the best conference last year. You just don't tend to think of the ACC that way and kind of buy into the hype, which is interesting considering that the ACC beat the Big Ten in 2 New Year's Six Bowls, went 6-2 against the league during the course of the year, and the Big Ten had 4 teams go into the New Year's Six Bowls and only one won, and that was Wisconsin against the Group of 5 team in Western Michigan. So, kind of interesting. I'm curious what your take on that is. I think it's... The ACC and the SEC have always been rivals. It's interesting now to see some ACC coaches taking some shots up into Big Ten territory. I think it's exciting, and I think it kind of, protects the shield of the ACC, right? They're the 2 best coaches of the ACC, and they have to kind of protect the shield and say, well, why is everybody saying the Big Ten's the best conference? We're the best conference. I don't know. It's probably nothing. I think it's interesting that Dabo would say it. He probably shouldn't have said it because you just don't go, wow, we looked at the tape and we were like, those boys are trash. It's basically what he was saying. That's not the best thing to say in the world, but I don't know, it's pretty interesting. Some sad news to report this week. Texas Tech walk-on quarterback Luke Gonsorowski died after a pretty lengthy battle with lung cancer. He was just 18. Apparently, he has been battling it since junior year of high school, I believe, and he had been cleared as cancer-free, and it came back this past spring. I watched a local news report from October of 2016 up in Montana, and they said that he had an 8-pound mass taken out of his chest, which is unbelievable. And so he came back and finished up high school. He joined the Texas Tech program back in the winter and was planning to walk on and try to earn a scholarship spot, and he died. He was just 18. You hate it when kids this young are taken with so much stuff in front of them, so much life left to live. So I just thought it was important to bring it up this week. On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, Florida State wide receiver Devontae Phillips has been suspended from the team following 5 third-degree felony counts of intent to defraud and grand theft. This includes falsifying money orders to increase their value and lying to police and to his bank about his debit card being stolen. Correction, I shouldn't say stolen, lost. Somebody else had taken it. He couldn't find it. He has been booked in jail. He was released on bail the same night, same morning. So it'll be interesting to see what Florida State does about the situation moving forward. They are a little bit depleted at the wide receiver position, so Phillips was probably going to have a larger role in Tallahassee this fall. So it's a shame you would do something so dumb or so desperate. Not entirely certain of the backstory, but either way, don't falsify money orders because you can track that pretty easily. That's really stupid. The Oklahoma Sooners have lost their second most productive wide receiver from 2016 in Nick Basquin to an Achilles injury. He will miss the entirety of the season. Pretty sure that's not the kind of news that Baker Mayfield wants going into his senior season in Norman. And the last little bit of news this week is that Tennessee lost starting offensive lineman Chance Hall to knee injury. He had knee surgery and will miss the remainder of the 2017 season as well. So that's it for me, guys. That is the stories that I came across this week that I found interesting or worth talking about. If there's any I missed, like I said, let me know down in the comments section. Anything that's been going on in your neck of the woods this week, just give me a holler down there and let me know what's been up. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can also click the circle right there in order to subscribe or watch any of the other videos over there to the right that YouTube has suggested for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, until next time. I get a couple of extra requests on, I may put that in the video, so make sure to shoot me on Twitter whenever you see something interesting during the week, but let's get started. This week, Disney announced that in 2018 they would be ending their partnership with Netflix so that in 2019 they could launch their own streaming service. So that's what all the headlines have been about. I didn't really care about it. This video, let me know down below and include links. It's always interesting. If I get enough of them, I've always kind of thought I would make a second episode kind of recapping the ones that you guys submitted. You can also submit, I never remember which side, to my Twitter, whichever side that popped up on during the week, and I'll kind of catalog it and see if there's some that are about ESPN, an ESPN streaming service. This is a part of the BAMTech $1.5 billion investment. They're going to develop an ESPN streaming service just for sports. They have been pretty vague about it because I doubt there's a whole lot of concrete ideas, just kind of general concepts. They did say, but I did see one article that made me delve a little bit deeper, and this is why it's important for us. So apparently in 2019, when they start launching new streaming services for Disney, which I assume will also include like not only Disney movies and Disney channel original shows and stuff like that. I assume there will be one for Marvel, though I'm not sure about that. There will be one. Hey Lifers, Dustin here, and it is Thursday, which means it's time for another edition of college football news. This week there was a few big things, not a whole lot of little things. So obviously, as with every single week, if there's anything that I missed that was interesting to a team in your neck of the woods or in your conference that I did not get to in this